What's good, King Ganda? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with a very important collaboration. And today I have one of my talented brothers out of the Philadelphia area. I'll let him explain who he is.
Peace, peace. George Macon out of Philadelphia. Yeah, I got my channel, Street Media TV. It used to be the George Macon Experience. Now it's the Street Media TV over there. You know, we deal with family stuff. We deal with current events that's going on outside. I also have my 501c3 nonprofit, Urban Nerds Foundation, Urban Nerds Worldwide. You can check, that's my YouTube channel there. You can see what we're doing with the inner city youth with Urban Nerds Worldwide. That's pretty much me. Oh, and this is one of our logos for our Urban Nerds. This is Hakeem.
All right. Shout out to Hakeem. Give him a round of applause, editors. And before we kind of get started, I want to play a very controversial clip by Colombian actor John Leguizamo. He's a famous comedian. Really got kind of popular also with a lot of black comedians in the 90s, comedy shows in the 80s, 90s, stuff like that. But I want to play this clip that he's talking about the Latino community. And so we'll have our editor put it here, and then we'll come back.
Latin people, we're the largest ethnic group in America, the oldest ethnic group. We built this country. We suffered in this country. We were oppressed, and we're thriving. We add $2.8 trillion to the GDP every year. If we were our own country, we'd be the 5th largest economy in the world, bigger than England, bigger than Italy, bigger than Brazil. And that's just in America. So I found Latin excellence all over America, in Chicago, in DC, in Miami, in Puerto Rico, in LA, in New York. And we ate, we danced, and we celebrated, because nobody knows how to enjoy life as good as Latinos.
So, Brother George, after seeing this clip, you know, it's been a lot of people on what we consider Black Twitter upset because he's saying that Latinos built this country. They have a $2.8 trillion spending power. And a lot of African Americans on Twitter and Black Twitter are really up in arms about this. And I talked to you about it. And I wanted you to share your opinion. What do you think about us as Black people, African Americans, who are upset with Mr. Leguizamo's commentary about Latinos building this country?
I want to tell our people to be aware of some of these big YouTube channels and social media influencers that's pushing for Black people to be upset with John Leguizamo. John Leguizamo said what he was supposed to say for his people, to push his people forward. John Leguizamo is a Latino from Colombia. And he's speaking on behalf of Latino Hispanic people and their struggles here in America, and their struggles for them to be recognized in the school books, you know, in the history books and movies and whatnot. So he's doing what he's supposed to do for his people. He also spoke about him being able to get by in Hollywood because he's light-skinned. But he said, but people, Afro-Latinos didn't have a chance in Hollywood. Nor did the more indigenous Latinos have a chance. So he's speaking on behalf of his people. Right. Black people that got a problem with this, you only have a problem with this because you're ignorant, meaning that you don't understand what's going on, because you should be speaking this way with your people, bonding together as a group to have power. I don't have no problem with what he said. I think we can learn from the Latino people and what they're actually doing. I mean, that's how I feel.
What are they doing though? Because let me just say this before, because I mentioned about that fight that Felix Trinidad had with I believe what's his name, Golden Boy. What's this guy's name?
Oscar De La Hoya.
And I can remember that fight where you had Puerto Ricans on one side and Mexicans on the other side, and Puerto Ricans and Mexicans do not like each other normally. Same thing with Dominicans and Mexicans. But now what you're seeing is, because when I thought about Hispanics in America, I'm only thinking about Mexicans. But it's not just Mexicans. It's Brazilians. It's, you know, Dominicans,
Hondurans, Costa Ricans, Belizeans, it's
Argentinians. All of them, right? And all of them don't speak Spanish. Some are speaking Portuguese. So we have that. Now they're all coming into one community as a voting block. And they're saying that we add $2.8 trillion to the economy, which is almost double what the blacks are bringing, right?
What they're basically saying is our numbers are too big in this country to be disrespected.
There you go.
You're going to put some respect on our names. John Leguizamo talked about being born in Colombia and raised in Queens, New York. The same conversation that a black man has. When he went to school, he didn't know about the achievements of Latinos in this country because they didn't teach it in the schools. I'm supposed to be mad because he's saying this stuff? He talked about not having a sense of Latino identity because it was not taught to him. He talked about the racism that Latinos have to experience. And he's saying that they have a voting block of 34.5 million eligible voters in this country. And they have the power to sway things in their direction. Now, in respective countries, they may not get along, but when they come to America, understanding how the system works, in the free system, as opposed to some of the countries that they come from, they come together, same way they did with the Latin Kings and all these different groups with the gangs. They come together as Latin people, form a Latin bloc, and they know that they can be more powerful together. We're sitting on the sideline, and these influencers telling you to be mad at him for what? Because he said he built the country. So effing what? So effing what? Maybe he said that because he knew that would garner the attention. Because see, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell y'all a little something, right?
Okay.
I know this firsthand. You know, having a Latino mother. A lot of Latinos in this country feel like they've been left out of the conversation, because in America, the conversation is always about black and white, the black and white issues. The white discrimination against the black man, the black and white issues. The brown people feel like they on the sideline, like, hey, you know, we exist, we're over here. Now, as a black person, a lot of times you might see Latinos and say, oh, they identify as white. But not all Latinos identify as white. Not all Latinos can pass for white. Okay. But when it came to movies or influences, they always feel like they've been an afterthought. They just exist. Or you see them as people that just come and do work on your house or something like that, where they're saying, wait a minute, we fought in every war just like everybody else. We have great achievements. We're in Hollywood. We have all the things that everybody else is doing. But so this is where you see them making the push, trying to make themselves relevant in hip hop. It's not the fact that they just want to steal it. They're looking to have their picture up there too, like, hey, we're here. Because a lot of Latinos feel like they're non-existent in the American conversation. Now, those of y'all out there that may disagree with me, but this is the thing I want to tell black people. It's not about whether you agree with me or not. I'm telling you the mindset of them and the way that they think. Forget agreeing with me. Get out of the emotionalism. Because I know a lot of us is caught up in this ADOS and this FBA stuff. But if we're going to do that, then that has to be a practice. You should be reading what John Leguizamo said. Don't get mad and emotional. Look at it as a teaching point.
Right.
Oh, shit, look what he's saying. Okay. That's interesting.
Okay.
Very interesting. He's knowing. Now watch this. It's truth to what he's saying. Okay. It's definitely truth to what he's saying. Were Latinos in this country discriminated against? Absolutely. Absolutely. Are Latinos discriminated against in Hollywood? Absolutely. Not all Latinos can pass for white people. Not all Latinos can pass for Ricky Martin and stuff like that. No. No. So in this country, we made everything is like black and white. So a person to see me, even though I got a Cuban mom, I'm black. Make no mistake about it. I'm black. There is no discrepancy. But you got people that come from other countries that don't understand the American black and white structure. Okay. And they see themselves, they know that they're black, but they see themselves as Latino, not black American. Okay. So they still feel like they don't have an identity. It's not about whether you agree with what I'm saying. It's the way that they view themselves when they come over here.
Right. So let me ask you this, because with us, I mean, you live in I would call it a very African-centered, diverse city in the city like Philadelphia, very similar to like New York or Washington D.C. That kind of whole Eastern Corridor is kind of like that. Whereas you see you're more likely to see blacks in those cities, especially New York and Philadelphia, that more or less help each other out and kind of live in more close proximity. It's not uncommon to see, like you said, Liberians and blacks and Ghanaians and Americans and African Americans living together. Even some of the Afro-Latinos and stuff like that too. I know that's also the case.
I'm gonna tell you, in Philadelphia, most Latinos, if I took you in the car and rode you through North Philly, most Latinos, funny, the majority of Latinos look like what's the guy that took the girl to Jamaica? What's his name?
Mediocre tutorials and reviews.
They look like mediocre tutorial reviews with curly hair.
Okay.
They don't. Most of them don't look white.
Okay.
Like you might got some out the crowd that could pass for a white boy, but the majority of Latinos in North Philly that been there for a long time, they look more like mediocre tutorials with curly hair.
Okay. Okay.
You know what I mean? So they don't pass for white.
Don't
so
pass for white.
A lot of times when I was growing up, we called Puerto Ricans our first cousins in Philly. But see, like I said, I can't speak for other demographics where other people come from.
Right. So Philadelphia, what I'm trying to say is it's different. Yeah. In New York City, it's a different culture where those people live. Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Africans, everybody's running together almost in the same blocks.
Mainly, I would say this: Puerto Ricans more than Dominicans.
Okay.
Dominicans got a problem with identifying with blacks, so a lot of times we don't rock with them. But Puerto Ricans been here forever. Dominicans came over later. Puerto Ricans have always been here. So Puerto Ricans lived in the projects with you. Yeah, I mean, you know, some of them was white, some of them was, like I said, more on the Afro looking with the afros and the curly hair. But they all lived there together. So that's why I remember a couple years ago when what's that guy, the boxer from Philly, Garcia. Damn, what's his name? Garcia. His dad kept saying the N-word, and everybody got mad. But I did a live stream. I was like, man, he from North Philly, man. That's how we talk.
Right.
I mean, you know, because they Puerto Ricans. I mean, you know, and they call them light skin in North Philly. So, but let me finish my point before I forget. So, and remember that. So again, Philadelphia and New York, they're exception to the rule, as it appears. And I mean, having been living in the States, when I go back, it seems like in California, these other places, there is a division, more or less, with the blacks. So you have African Americans are running together on every side, but they're not necessarily hanging out with Africans or Caribbeans so much as you would see in this Eastern corridor, which the culture is different because, you know, Caribbean's been in New York City, Harlem, and for years. Well, now, I was about to say,
go ahead.
That's why, you know why is that? You got to understand something when you're dealing in the history of the East Coast corridor. The Caribbean people have been here since the 1800s. You know, when they was doing great migrations out of Haiti, a lot of them came to Philadelphia. Look up the history of Haitians, the influx of Haitians coming into Philadelphia in the late 1700s, early 1800s. They've been here. People from the Caribbean have been here so long, man. If you do a DNA test, you might find out your grandfather or your great grandfather was from the Caribbean. You won't even know it. Right. Yeah, that's so. From DC, Baltimore, DC on up, there's always been Caribbean and Africans came in, Liberians and Sierra Leoneans came in. They've been here. So, like I said, it depends on every black community across America ain't the same.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to get to, because in the West Coast, obviously in cities like LA, there's some levels of Nigerian that are there, but it's not like they're deep like they are in DC or deep like they are in New York City or Philadelphia. Africans wasn't as deep in Cali as it was in these places, in my honest opinion, right? So what I'm asking is, with these Latinos coming together as a block, how it seems like it's easier in the East Coast with that culture of the corridor, but in the rest of the United States, where you're seeing that division between certain blacks and, okay, you guys over here, I'm over there, and you know, you have all this stuff. What needs to happen to bring out, because you know, we got worldwide, we have the numbers, right? We worldwide, we got one of the biggest diasporas on planet Earth, and we got the numbers on the continent. But what do we need to do to bring our people together to show value so that they will want to see each other as one block.
Man, that's the, you know how the Bible, you know how Christ said, lean not to your own understanding. At this point, man, I don't know what more can happen to Black people in America, the Caribbean, all throughout the diaspora in Africa. That's going, I just don't know. That's going to make us come together. And this is why I'm saying, as Black folks, we ain't got no right to be mad at John Leguizamo. I'll be the first to say it. I don't care what nobody say. He's saying what he's supposed to say for his people. He's standing on his post. When the other Puerto Rican girl that was going with Puffy, what's her name?
Jennifer Lopez. She used to be trying to be Black, but now she switched sides.
When Jennifer Lopez went up there and said what she said, I wasn't mad.
About the Goldman Sachs. We want $350 million for the Latino women community. Yes.
She's standing for her. She's standing for her people. She's supposed to.
Right.
Why ain't that's what we supposed to do? Whether you in the boardroom somewhere working for a Fortune 500 company, you still supposed to know you Black. You're still supposed to know if it wasn't for the sacrifices that people made before you, you wouldn't even be in here. That's true. The problem with Black people is we hate each other. We hate each other. Listen, look at what's going on in the manosphere. Look at what's going on in all these different groups. Pookie's and Ray Ray's not even in there. I told everybody the biggest problem with Black people is we don't get along. Right. And the problem is we got a lot of speakers and great orators, but not enough producers and doers. Carter G. Woodson, chapter 6. Of the miseducation. We got a whole lot of people that can talk, but no producers. And we need people to drive the bus. Forklift drivers. Right. We need people, dispatchers, but everybody want to be want to have the microphone. Right. Get off the goddamn microphone and go do some work, man. Because if you start doing work with your people, you'll appreciate more what John Leguizamo said. You always feel some type of way because it makes us feel vulnerable. Oh shit. Now the Latinos is coming together now. First, we saw the Asians come together. We see the Indians. We see everybody, all the other groups, and they look at us funny. Now even the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans going to turn against us? Yeah. What we going to do now? Right. See, the Mexicans, I can't speak for Mexicans. I don't know Mexicans like that. I grew up on the East Coast. I mean, from what I'm hearing on the West Coast, they never mess with y'all. But on the East Coast, now they getting a Latino block. Damn, Flacco and them ain't going to be my friends no more. I mean, the last friends we had outside of Black people was Puerto Ricans. Puerto Ricans ain't going to roll with us no more. See what I'm saying? So you only feel some type of way because you know that Black people ain't on shit. My language. We on individual success. What I got to do for me, burn the community down. You don't hear no other group talking like that. No, none. So I'd say to my brothers and sisters that make those statements, how can you compete in America when groups come together to vote on a block and work together on a block? You can't be. They don't say tear it down. How can you tearing what down? Right. And if you want to tear it down, if you open your mouth to say tear it down, what are you contributing to rebuild? Or where are you building? Because those other groups, when they form, let me tell y'all something, right? When those other groups form their voting block, and they tell you we have 34 million eligible voters in this country. We have a $2 trillion spending power. We're coming together. Do you think that they want you marrying into their group when they're coming together as a group? And they looking at you as African Americans killing each other, backbiting each other, not sticking together. You're looked at as the downtrodden group of America. The ones getting left behind. The ones that live in communities where we go into your communities and open up shop. Your guests living in your own communities. We own all the real estate in your community. Why the freak would I want you sleeping with my daughters now? Right. It's over.
Let me just add this too. You know, I'm not trying to start no beefs or anything here, but I noticed that Black people are so comfortable with saying we built this country, like, and that's it. You know, and I get that, and obviously there is a lot of truth to that. But just to say that we built this country as an argument, and that's it. Yeah, and and there's no progression for a lot of us trying to add value to each other. One of the things I like about the Latino community, and you've also mentioned this before, is the Latino community. They're coming together doing these events, and one of the things that they have is they have ownership. They want to own their own identities. They want to employ their people and clean their people up. You always make that the case for that. And they, because they're immigrants and they have been kind of shunned out to a certain degree, they had to rely on each other to get a lot of this economy stuff going, to reinvest into their people, to take over, like the barbershop world now. They got good at certain skill sets. A lot of African Americans, we don't really, and you said this too, we don't really need each other as far as depending on each other, as far as economic commerce and business, stuff like that. So because we don't do that, we don't look at each other as, okay, this, as a black person, this is my lifeline. Now over in Africa, I see how much of a lifeline your brothers and sisters can be because you really need them. But I dare say, if I was in America, I wouldn't have that mentality. I would think like, yo, I have this good job, I have this income. I don't really need to serve my community or to really do anything with my community to really improve the living situation or standard in my community. But I see the Latinos, when they come in as immigrants, you almost have to do that. Just like if you were to move to Ghana or Uganda, you wouldn't depend on the private sector to fund you. You would have to make a coalition with the people who look like you to be able to create these enterprises and keep the money going. But with the African American community, we don't look at each other like that. We don't look at, as my brother, he's my lifeline. We should get together and do things. We should get together and celebrate our culture. We should get together and celebrate the Nigerian American culture, things like that. And although we agree to disagree, we can open up the opportunities to do, hey, do business in Africa, do business here, whatever. But we don't do that because of what you've mentioned. And now you're seeing other groups doing that. And then we get upset because we feel like they're doing the work and really we're not.
What do they call it when you can switch? When you can come on the black side and then go over on the white side. What is that they call it? Is it code switch? Not code switching.
Not code switching, but
yeah, well, see, this is the thing, what I want black people to understand. Regardless of whether you think Latinos can play the white game and the black game, they can come on both sides. Latinos still got discriminated against in this country. And they're using that. You know what? Let me just take the gloves off. Listen, man, let me tell you something, man. You're supposed to use your history and everything that we talk about to empower us going forward. When you walk in the room, because of what we've been through here in this country, we're supposed to be steadfast and uncompromising. The problem that you have is Latinos have peeped the weakness in the game. They've seen our struggle. And now they're saying, wait a minute, we were discriminated against in movies too. It was hard for us to get Latino movies in Hollywood. We had to go to theater. It was hard for us to get our culture respected here. And that's the truth. He ain't lying when he say that. Just because some of them can pass for white, it doesn't negate the fact that Latinos in this country was discriminated against. It doesn't negate the fact that Mexicans were discriminated against and had their land taken from them. Texas, California, stolen, taken from them. New Mexico, Nevada, that's all Mexican territory. Taken from them. See, we got to understand American history. So when you get these big YouTubers talking this trash, they don't know what they're talking about. He's saying what he's supposed to say for his people, and he ain't wrong. And guess what? That what he's saying ain't got nothing to do with us. There ain't no slight on us. He's speaking on behalf of his people. His people. He's saying that they feel non-existent, in Latin community feels non-existent and demonized when it comes to history and the portrayal of them in movies. Who am I as an African American to tell him he's wrong?
So what's the difference between how you think that they're handling their situation and how we're handling ours?
They're doing something about it. See, when you come outside and every store on your corner in your community is a Latino store, you see them have their own networks and they're pushing their stuff. And then you see them starting to grow more and more they're becoming, their numbers are increasing more and more in different cities across America. They're coming. They're buying up the property. They're sticking together. You see Hondurans having conversations with Colombians, and they speaking that Spanish language. And you sitting there on the sideline watching your neighborhood go from black to Mexican and Honduran and Colombian. The whole South Side now is Latino. 20 years ago, wasn't no Latino in sight.
You mean in South Chicago?
All over. All over. Here in
even South Philly.
Brother, here in Philadelphia and South Philly, I'm riding through last summer. I see a bunch of little short Mexicans riding around in like low riding little cars. And I'm like, because in South Philly, you don't see Latinos like that. But you got all these Mexicans over there. And I'm like, and they didn't look like the Mexicans that fix your house. These was young Mexicans riding around on motorcycles, and these look like dope boy Mexicans. I'm like, yo, what the frick? What is this? Philadelphia is a black city, bro. Okay. Blackity, black, and black more and black. So when you see Mexicans, I'm like, Mexicans? They don't even look right. Like, because like I said, you see Puerto Ricans like all the time, but Puerto Ricans is just Puerto Ricans. They've been in your neighborhood since forever, so they just like your family. But you see Mexicans stand out. Like, who is these people? They playing their little Mexican music and stuff. They riding around in these little cars, and their numbers is getting up. You can ride through West Philly now and go to the park. You see groups of Mexicans, like 7, 8, 9 cars out there. They out there playing soccer. What the hell is going on? And people, I told my wife, I said, let me tell you something. They spread like roaches. Don't look at this and take this lightly. You know, it's what it is.
And another thing, let me put this out there too. Like, one thing I've noticed, because as a little boy, I remember Mexicans in the 80s in LA, in Sacramento, when I moved there. The skill set of average Hispanics, but at that time, in Mexicans, was of course almost relegated to how handyman stuff or food service and things like that. But now Hispanics are very skilled. Yes. Very, very specialized. And like a lot of times too. Yeah. So they're catching up. Like, it's not just, all right, we're Hispanics and we're cheap labor. No. Now they're in Congress, you know, now they're passing bills, right? Now
not to cut you off, they're not catching up, they caught up already. And most of them they're past us. See, you have black achievers in this country, right? Let's make no mistake about it, right? But you have so many Latinos in this country that are successful, that can pass for white or just be Latino. And they're starting to make their presence known because they got their numbers up. Now we can come on TV and speak our speech without having to be intimidated by the black community or white folks. We say what we want to say. We got leverage. We got spending power. We got voting power. I wish one of you that's the mentality right now.
Exactly. What you gonna do about it?
What you gonna do about it?
It was people said Cypress Hill, and they're talking about the Ice Cube thing. They're like, look, man, what is he gonna say to us in Los Angeles? He said Mexicans run LA. We got the numbers. You blacks can't do nothing to us. That's what they were saying. And again, that's what they're saying. Like, he can't lose nothing from a black backlash, because you can't cancel Hispanics no more. Latinos no more. Not even Asians, right? Because they got a pretty good spin. If you include the Indian community in that and Chinese community in that, and then even in the blacks, we got successful African Americans and Caribbeans and Nigerian Americans, but we're disjointed right now at the hip. So the reality is that the Latinos are swinging it back. They're almost double our spending power. With almost the same amount of registered voters. So think about that. That's the key. I believe you said we have like 32.5 million registered voters.
Yeah.
They got 34 million, right?
We got 32.
Okay. So we have a 1.6 or 7 trillion spending power. They have, get this, $1.1 trillion more. So they got 2.8 trillion. We got about 1.7 trillion. That means they have an additional $1 trillion in spending. And we all know that the Hispanic community is more likely to spend money on, you guessed it, political campaigns.
Yep. And Leguizamo talked about doing the movie Carlito's Way. And he said that was a movie about a Latin man, written, directed by a Latin man, but the lead character was played by a white man, an Al Pacino. He felt some type of way about that. He said even though he's an Al Pacino fan, he still felt disrespected because he said, damn, I'm in this movie co-starring with this guy, but he's the lead. They talked about Scarface and they depicted, again, another Latino, but it was a white man. So what I'm saying is, but when I'm hearing a Latino say this about his group and his people, that's not my argument. How the hell I'm gonna be mad at him for saying whatever he's saying? That should be more of a swift kick in the ass for us to get our stuff together, man. See, you ain't gotta like me and like what I'm saying, but you can't say what I'm saying is wrong. What he's saying for his group is what he's supposed to say. I'm supposed to get on TV or get out there and champion for my people. So when they put the microphone in my face, I'm gonna talk about A. Philip Randolph and the Pullman Porters and what we had to go through and our struggle. That's what I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk about Benjamin Hooks and Barbara Johns. I'm gonna talk about the Little Rock Nine and all those things and the things that we had to go through in this country. I'm gonna talk about the 3 little girls in Alabama. I'm not gonna talk about what they talking about. So I don't expect him to talk about our issues. I'm gonna talk about how we built this country. Absolutely. I'm gonna talk about all those different things. They say the Asians built the railroads and all that. No, I'm gonna talk about that was all us. I'm gonna talk about how we had we had the inventions and we didn't get our patents and our just due and the money that we should have got. I'm gonna talk about that. That's what I'm supposed to do. John is doing what he's supposed to do. Shout out to John Leguizamo for standing in the gap for his people, man.
Yep.
How many of y'all gonna stand in the gap for yours? Or you gonna get on there and shuck and jive and sambo it up with Mr. Charlie and them and say burn it down and start skinning and grinning? Because if you ever want to know how a black man feel, sit him next to a powerful white man. Sit him next to a powerful white man and watch how he behave. Watch how he behave.
And he was bold what he was saying. He said, look, we built this country. I seen blacks on Twitter flying and everything, and I get it. But at the same time, as blacks around the world, the writing is, especially in the United States, is the writing on the wall. And what's on the wall don't look too nice. And these people, and I remember Hispanics in I'm talking about Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, not like at all. Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, not like each other at all. But when it comes there, it's almost like the formation of the European Union in America for their own benefits. And they're spending money. And whenever time these big artists come, what's this? There's one artist right now. I think he's from the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico. What's this guy's name? He's like one of the biggest artists. Yeah, what is his name?
Anwell?
Nah, this girl tried to sue him for like $30 million. Let me see, biggest Puerto Rican rapper. The guy's name is Bad Bunny.
Okay, yeah, Bad Bunny. Okay.
This guy goes anywhere in the Latin American world and sells out crazy.
Bro, listen, Anwell, Bad Bunny, Nango Flow, Baby Rasta, man, people, old school guys like Don Omar and them, Tango Flow, all of them, man, they ain't gotta come here. They go all throughout Central and South America, man, overseas to Spain and Europe. When they do come here, they go to Miami and California. They don't have to come here. Nango Flow, man, been in the game for a long time. Don Omar and them, and they tour all up, and they don't have to come here. They multi-millionaires. Multi-millionaires. That's what I'm saying. So I know all that kind of stuff because, like I said, I know the music. It's part of, my mom's side of my family, So, but they have the numbers, man. They have the numbers. I'm well, man, it's killing them. It's killing them. But like I said, I'm showing up to wherever John Leguizamo was talking with. I'm showing up with a Mega Evers t-shirt on.
Right.
So when I walk in the room already, they already gonna know who they talking to. Like I said, I'm gonna have a Mary McLeod Bethune shirt on.
I know that's
I'm
right.
Come right in there and sit down and talk about what I need to talk about my people.
Right.
So and then for some of our people, because I know how the black man is, because our biggest attractor is the black man. Some of y'all gonna hear me say, "Oh, well, he talking about his mom is Latino and they're black." We know that we're black. When you deal with the Latino community, the black Latino community in Cuba, Antonio Maceo and his mother is known as the Mother of Cuba. They were black people. They were fighting for the liberation of Cuba. Know the story in the history of Cuba. He was killed in 1896 fighting against the Spanish. The black people there saved that country. We don't always get our just due. So black people here in the diaspora been fighting everywhere. The problem is you don't know who you are and you don't know your story. So when you get mad at John Leguizamo for uplifting his people and telling his story, if you knew your story, you wouldn't give a damn about what he's talking about because you'd be too busy uplifting yours.
Right.
Too busy uplifting yours. But because see, us being angry just shows our vulnerability.
There you go.
That's all it is. Shows how vulnerable you are.
Right.
Because if you had pride, racial integrity, pride, understood who you are, and stood on that, but nothing he could say will hurt what you doing, because he didn't disrespect the black community. He just speaking up for his.
And the Asian community ain't mad. They don't care.
No. We only care because we feel vulnerable. Here goes somebody else. Even with the hip hop thing, they always try to come take our stuff. Just listen to how that sounds. They try to come take our stuff. Cool. Let me tell you. We live on a planet full of killers, y'all. Everything is looking to eat something at any given time. If you can't defend and protect what's yours, they're taking it from you.
Right.
So it's very weak for you to be whining about what somebody's saying or somebody coming to take your stuff. If you live in black communities and they come into your community and setting up shop, that's your fault.
Yep, there you go.
The white man around the world is what you consider evil. Put it this way: the lion, the zebra, she go have some zebra babies, and the zebra babies is running around, little zebra babies, and they get hungry. The mom go get them some food. When she come back, the leopards and the lions done went and grabbed the zebra babies and ate them up. She ain't no calling the cops. Nigga, that's only in the fictitious world, the made-up world that we made up, where you can call the police. In the world of nature, the natural world, they come and they snatching that, they eating that. Everything is looking to eat something. The plant life, the bug life, everything. So even in the humans, if you can't protect what you got, they taking it.
Right.
They taking it. They elbowing you out the way. So black people, you better get out your feelings and get in the game and survive.
Yeah.
Get in the game and survive. Okay, guess what? You've been enslaved. They enslaved us. They beat us. They named us. They claimed us. They maimed us. They took away our religion, our cultures, our God, our four ways, our more ways, our everything, right? Menticide, genocide. Guess what? It's time for us to get the fuck.
Right.
Because either we gonna get over it or we gonna keep getting ran over.
Right. And we getting ran over right now. All over the black world, we getting ran over.
We got to get past it. And notice I didn't say forget it.
Right.
Use it to empower you going forward to say never again.
Right.
What John Leguizamo said only hurts because you feel like you don't have a defense against what he said. That's why it hurts.
And let me just
you're not fortified. You don't have a fortress.
Right. And let me just say this. Speaking of building that fortress, we have a great opportunity to build the fortress with one another by adding value to each other. And I was talking to Brother George about this earlier. I said, we got the numbers. I want black people to really understand we got the numbers. I know some brothers don't consider themselves a part of the greater Pan-African community and in the black world, but I'm here in Uganda right now. I will tell you that Africa will let you rock. I'm an example of that. The black world will let you rock. Some brothers go into Thailand, they come over here all the time saying, look, Thailand is for the Asians. I don't care how long you stay there. Dubai is for the for the Emiratis. But Africa will let you rock. We got the numbers.
Yeah.
If the Africa Free Trade Agreement comes, automatically we're the biggest trading bloc in the world. We have some of the biggest people in the diaspora in the world. We got the numbers. We got the numbers and we got the people and we got the intelligence. So we don't need to be intimidated by nobody because we already got what others don't have. It's already there. The money's already there. We already got the money.
Yeah, we have. Our only problem is we have to get back to having a black mind, race consciousness, understanding who we are. I can't, here in America, we got to get back to some form of race consciousness. Other than that, I don't see the Asians arguing over Democrat and Republican and all that kind of stuff. They have their own system and structure set in place. I don't see Indians doing that. Indians have a diaspora all over the world, out of India into Africa, all throughout the Caribbean, all throughout the Americas, the Indian people.
Yep.
And they all working together in tandem. Now, India has their issues in India, and they have their own racism and caste system. But in the diaspora, they work together.
Oh, yeah.
And they're at the forefront of technology and engineering and everything. Anywhere you go in engineering in school, you're going to see Indian people in there.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
They're in there. And the doctors or engineering and dentists, being a dentist.
Yep.
They're going to be in there. Where's the I was in the hospital one time, and I was asking, like, where are the black engineers? Where are I'm talking about not African Americans. Where are African American dentists and doctors? African Americans at the forefront of the modern technology coming forward. I see a lot of Africans in the rooms coming in. A lot of Africans come over here with already ready-made skill sets. They come to America already with knowing how to do things. I asked O'Shea a couple of weeks ago. I said, those people that come to work, how are they learning how to do this editing and all that kind of stuff? They coming in with the way they learning this stuff. I thought they was poor. They didn't have nothing.
Yeah.
Where they learning this stuff? We live in America, and these Negroes ain't got no skill sets. None.
With all the equipment and everything there, and the
greatest trick. I'll say this as I know we're about to wind down. I'll say this to African Americans and my brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, my brothers and sisters in the diaspora. I'm gonna separate the African for a minute, right? Those of us that went through the Ma'afa, the greatest trick that they've done on us since integration is conditioning our minds that make us believe we can't do it. Nobody's kicking this door in, dragging me out my house and hanging me, shooting me 72 times and setting me on fire because I said something about a white person. That's not happening. What my great-grandfather had to go through, I don't have to go through that no more. Nobody's stopping me and you, brother, whoever you are out there watching this, me and you from coming together, working together and building something. The problem is we don't believe that we can do it. We don't have the trust and the love of each other. So the greatest thing they did was disconnect us from each other. Nothing is stopping us. Brother O'Shea went to Africa by himself and built something. Did the white man stop you, O'Shea?
Nope.
The white man ain't stop you, did he? Did he get in your way and say, "Oh, O'Shea, where you going?" Did he tie you to a tree and whip you?
Nope.
So you actually went and did something, right? And achieved something, right?
Yes. So
what I'm trying to explain to our people, what happened to us happened to us. Is there racism still in play at an all-time high? Yes. But the white man is not stopping us from getting out there and competing. Now we get to certain levels where we get into their block, their street, where they have well-organized machines going. Yeah, you might run into some trouble and run into some stuff. But as far as building our communities on smaller levels and becoming the millionaires of our community, white man ain't stopping you from doing that. You're stopping yourself. How many black men and women have you worked with in the last year out there? How many have you worked with in the last year to build something, to produce something? Huh? Those are the questions I have to ask for y'all. They killed Medgar Evers because he was trying to get people to vote in Mississippi. They killed Dr. King not because he had a dream. They killed Dr. King because he said the dream was a nightmare. And he started talking against that. They killed his brother the next year because he stood with his brother. They killed Malcolm X, and they also killed that brother in Nigeria the same day that was giving Malcolm X the game. They killed Patrice Lumumba. They killed so many leaders in Africa that was actually standing up, trying to make a difference, right? But today, you so free, you don't even think you need each other. But you mad at John Leguizamo. But I'm asking, how many black people have you worked with to actually make a difference? You go through these communities we live in, not one black store. Not one.
Not one.
I live in Philadelphia, one of the blackest cities in America. I gotta ride for miles and walk for miles to find a damn black store in a city with 1.8 million people and probably 900,000 black people. And I would say this is a disgrace. It's not the fact this is a disgrace. It's the fact that they condition our brains to go work under them and not seek it for ourselves. That's why you got people down here saying, burn a community down, because you don't want the responsibility of having to care for your people. You don't want the responsibility. And that's where we at, O'Shea. We don't want the responsibility to have to care for our people, care for our communities, and do for ourselves like other groups do. We're used to being under Mr. Charlie and Miss Betty. We used to being up under them, despite them accusing us, despite the things that they still do to us, despite the way they treat us in these corporate buildings and everything else. We would rather be with them than be with our own people, or have the responsibility of cleaning up our own people. We don't want to do it. So with that being said, don't be mad at John Leguizamo and the Latino community for doing what they're supposed to do.
And they clean their people up all the time. They got rules of engagement. Every group that's doing better than us in America have better rules of engagement, usually, not all the time, but they have rules of engagement of how to do things. There's more order. Even with the gangs in these communities, got more order. So we got a lot of work to do. Again, like I said, we got the numbers. We have the talent, and we have HBCUs. We have everything that we need, all the infrastructure to push our people forward. But one of the things we got to do is start adding value, start having a black mind, start looking at each other as a resource, not to use as for our own personal gain, but we need to build that fortress around ourselves. And once we start to see the value in that, man, we can solve so many problems overnight. I mean, Brother George, you've been, been my buddy since 2018. You remember when I came here, and I didn't have much infrastructure and much network, but 5 years in the game here, and we have a lot of people that support us worldwide, and we have that fortress around us now. And whether that's in production or whether that's in the communities or worldwide. Go ahead.
Let me say this, and then we gotta go. We gotta wrap it up. I'm gonna say this. I talked to you on the phone. I'm 6 years older than you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me talking to you, you a brother born in Los Angeles, raised in Northern California. You went to school 3,000 miles away on the East Coast in my backyard in Washington, D.C. Got your degree from Howard University. Went back out to California, worked in corporate America, and then went to Poland. Stayed in Poland, got a medical degree. Mm-hmm. And then you landed up in Sandoland in Africa. Landed in Africa. I asked you a question not too long ago, and I said, O'Shea, how many black men or women where you come from will ever experience or live that type of life that you lived in the last 15 years? Traveling. Not many. And I'm in Philadelphia. I don't know any either. Not too many that would be able to go 3,000 miles away to school, go to school in Europe to get a medical degree, and then land in Africa to be that well-traveled. I'm saying all that to say that a brother born in LA jump on the floor because they're doing drive-bys with fully automatic machine guns, fucking 8 Trey gangsters and Denver Brims or Bloods or whatever, shooting and killing each other, mayhem, go up to Northern California, escape all of that. Go out to school on the East Coast. Go over to Europe. Go over to Africa. It's telling you that I'm saying all that to say that it's possible for us to do it. Get it out of your mind that we can't do anything. That's a lie. The white man is not the devil, some mythical guy with some horns on his head that got some spiritual demonic power that's altering your mind and stopping you from doing stuff. Please stop. Stop. It's brothers and sisters that have individual success that are doing it. We got to start combining those successes together like they did back in the day to get us to where we are now. So I'm saying all that to say what this brother's doing, he did it. But if he done went with the conventional way of thinking as black people, yo, man, yo, son, I'm out in California, yo, homie, I'm going out 3,000. I'm going all the way to the East Coast to go to school. You crazy? You going all the way over there? Hey, what's over there? And when I leave there, so then he come back to Cali, yo, I'm about to go to Poland and go to college. What? You going over there with the white folks? Man, is you crazy? Then when you get the degree, yo, I'm going to Africa. Your mama be like, you going to where?
Right.
Black people will discourage you from doing any and everything. If listening to black folks, you would have never did none of it.
That's
because
true.
We're not conditioned or wired to be successful in our minds, successful that we're in our mind, individual, but wired to actually do this thing and then be an example. And then you got a white person working for you for the last 3-4 years. So now when he's somewhere and somebody say something racist, you know what he gonna say? Man, I don't know what you talking about, man. I've been working for a black man for the last 4 years. I don't know what y'all talking about. You calling black people the N-word. My boss is black. So we can learn from that. Here I am. I'm 6 years older than you. I've never done that kind of stuff. I've never been to Africa. I've never went overseas and got a medical degree or graduated from college. I never had that opportunity. But you have. So it's an example showing you what actually could be done when we just believe in our own selves. The greatest thing they did was stop us from believing in ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves. We got black doctors, lawyers, politicians, economic strategists. We got athletes, entertainers, everything. The problem is, and what J.P. Bartha said, was it J.W. Bartha, Madison Grant, black people are incapable of doing things on their own. Or the level of intelligence of black people will dictate how much white blood they have. We really believe that we are incapable of doing anything on our own. That's why, in closing, I'm done here. That's why my brothers and sisters over in London can go hard for just Pearly, but they won't do it for themselves. You did just Pearly, you are the show. King Richards and all the other brothers, get the show, get the women on there, and y'all do it. I believe in y'all. I believe y'all can do it without just Pearly. No diss to just Pearly, but it's our story. Y'all do it. I'm watching the brother over there on Vlad. He had the Feds magazine in the early 2000s. Everybody bought the Feds magazine. Oh, you doing interviews on Vlad. Why?
Right.
Because we got crackatosis, acute white affinity syndrome. We feel like we are incapable of doing anything without our people, without Mr. Charlie or Miss Betsy showing up. So then we'll say, well, she's providing jobs for us. Do y'all understand how that sounds? I'll end it there. Do you understand how that sounds? She doesn't need to provide jobs for able-bodied, intelligent black men and women. She doesn't need to do it. You brothers and sisters can do it on your own. I love you and I believe in y'all.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much, Brother George. This classic stream. It is 6:05 in the morning and over here in Uganda. So nigger done kept me up. We're more long-winded than me. So any last words, Brother George?
Support Urban Nerds. Go to my Urban Nerds channel, Urban Nerds Worldwide. You can also go to Urban Nerds Worldwide website. You can donate there through PayPal or Venmo or our Cash App, Urban Nerds. Through our Cash App, Urban Nerds. Make sure you guys support our foundation. Urban Nerds Worldwide is the website.
All right. Peace out.